Hey, I'm Dave Jackson, head of podcasting here at Podpage, and this video is based on your feedback. If you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see where we have many videos that are often under 2 minutes long, and we had a few people say, look, I just started, can you get me up and running, and I want to have my website look good, and basically have my episodes, my blog, and a video, all that coming in along with my email list. So this doesn't cover everything that Podpage does, but it does get you up and going. Realize I have chapters here so you can jump to different topics. You can always pause the video and go do this in Podpage, but this will get you up and going and it will get you looking great. I'll have links to everything we mentioned underneath this video. Enjoy. All right, in this lesson, we like our website to look organized. We want it to have a nice, smooth brand. And one of the ways you can do that is by having a great color palette. And so what we can do is we're at a free website, color.adobe.com. And I can come up here and click on visit. And it's going to bring me in here to this color wheel. And what we want to use is this option in the upper left-hand corner. I'd like to extract a theme. Because one of the things you can do with your website is use whatever the colors you picked for your artwork and then base the website on your artwork. So I'm going to go here and select a file. And here is my artwork. So I'm going to open that up and it instantly gave me a color palette. And you can see where it's picked these colors. So if you're like, well, I kind of like this red one over here, maybe you could drag this over here. That really is very close to that other color. But you get the idea. But you can even go over here and say, show me bright. And it moves it around and muted and deep and dark. And then none doesn't really do anything. But if I go colorful, for me, I like this one. And so you can come over and give it a name. So I'm going to call it Web Tools Radio, because that's what it was. And all I have to do is click on save, and I now have this saved in Adobe Color. And you also might want to start some sort of notepad, whether that's, Notepad, or I use NoteJoy, whatever you use to save these. What you might do is come over and give these a name. So I'm going to call this whole thing red brown. So I'm just going to call this really light, and I can click here on this and you'll see where it says it's copied it to the clipboard. And now I can come here and I'm just going to go Control V to paste. I'll call this dark red, even though it's not technically red, but that's what I'm calling it. I'll click on that. I'll go back, and you get the idea. You want to save these because I don't know if I would ever use 5, but you could probably use 3. Pretty black. And now you can go in and use this in your Podpage. And so what we can do is here in Podpage, go down to Design and go to Colors and Fonts. We have a preview of this now, and I can go down to colors and say, look, I want my primary color to be whatever I want. So you can see here where the links are this red, and I'm going to say, look, let's try that kind of dark red that we were playing with before. And so this primary color, when I press tab, you'll see now where the links are darker, and you can see here will be used for all the links, the buttons across your website. And so I'm like, okay, maybe since they're links, maybe I want this to be the really light one. So I could do that here, put that here. Now my links down here, you'll see, are a little lighter. And I'm like, okay, maybe I want to use that gray as the background. So I'm going to grab this light gray, and this will be used throughout the website. So I'm going to put that here, press tab, and you can play with this as much as you want. And so as I look at this, you can now in this color area come in and say, hey, what color do I want my links to be? Maybe I don't want them to be that red color. It's going to use the default color unless you put something in. And like the button up here is that color. And so maybe I want those to be a different color just to show you here. If I go, hey, let's make this bright pink, you'll see that as bright pink. So if you leave it alone, it'll use the default color. So I'm like, okay. And if we come up to the navigation bar, you'll see you can set the color here, but I'm going to go ahead and just click on save, and let's work our way down. And so here, the navigation bar is also under design, which is where we're at here. And I could say, hey, how do I want this to look? So right now it's a solid color, or do I want it to be transparent? And there's no right or wrong answer here. So I'm going to say, that's kind of cool. I'll leave that like that and click my save button. Now, you also have on the navigation bar your branding, and what it's talking about is this section here. And so I can say, hey, do I want the podcast and the artwork name? Do I want nothing? Just hide the whole thing. Do I want just the podcast name only? Do I want, and now if you wanted to upload a different logo, you could do that here. So for now, we're just going to say artwork and name, but feel free to play with those. And then your navigation links here. This is where you can pick what you want on your navigation bar. So maybe I'm not really interested in reviews, so I can turn that off. And you'll see here, this make the last link a button. So that's why follow looks that way. If you have categories, you can show them in the drop-down menu when people click on episodes, and if you want to show seasons. So I'll go ahead and click on save, and I'm pretty happy with how that looks. Now, we're looking at the home page. So if we go to pages and then home, and then over here we can click on edit page. Now I can tweak this a bit. So maybe I'm not that crazy about the curve. So I could come here and say, all right, that's this whole part here, the top, is called the home page header. So when I click on that, I can now say, hey, the bottom border, can I please have that either diagonal, boxes, paper, mountains? I'm going to say straight. And lo and behold, there's that. There's also, if we go up here to banner and background, I can click on this and you'll see here where there's actually an image back here. Let me show you how you can see this. Under advanced settings, if I make this maybe like 25, it will brighten this up. So you can see that. I'm like, yeah, I really don't like that. And so I can either A, make this image dark, or I could just say, I don't want an image. Default banner image. I could say, no, thank you. And now, if I want, I can upload my own banner. And so I went into Canva and made an image that was 1400 by 500 just to be a background. And so I can click here and I've got this already saved. You'll see here, dark red banner. I was very creative when I named that. And we will see it here. If I scroll down and click on save, that will update this. And we should see, I might have that too dark. If I go here now, there's the image. I'm going to go here and say, look, let's make that 25. So there we go. Much better. Now, depending on what you like, I can make this darker. If I wanted to, I could say, let's make this 50. And you see what's happening there. So that's the background image. That will stop you from looking like every other website. So I'll close this now. Just realize what we can do here. If I do this, it will move everything off the image. And so now I've just got the background, which looks, this would be great if I had text on this and I didn't want anything on top of it. If I do this, it's the opposite. We had this. And then what if I don't, I can just say, just give me the image. When I do that, there's nothing there. So again, if I just had a banner and didn't want the media player or anything like that, and I'm going to say, no, I actually want that back. So there's my media player. So a lot of different ways to customize how that top header looks. And the other thing I want to point out here, you'll see I've got the name Web Tools Radio. I've got it on the artwork here, and I've got it here. So I could come over to the title and maybe explain what this site is about. And so I could say tips and tools for online creators. If I press my tab key, there you go. It's now changed the here. Likewise, I could change the description. So if I want something besides the default one that's in Apple, and you'll see here under Media Player, I can choose, do I want to show Media Player or not? So I can actually turn that off and just say, look, just show a play button. Or I could come down here and say, I don't want anything. And it's gone. You can also, if you wanted to put a YouTube video, so I'll go over to my YouTube here. We'll just grab a random image here from my channel. And I'll grab this link and I can just throw this here. This can be a single video or a playlist. And so when I do that, there it is. And you'll see here, if I now say, hey, show my latest episode, it doesn't really, if I do this, you can have both, but it gets a little crowded. So depending again on what you want, there's no wrong answer here. It's really how do you want it displayed? So that's the media player, your follow links. Do you want the cover on the right side and not the left? You can do that. We already played with the banner image. Do you want some spacing? So right now my top spacing, I could bring this down a little. And this is one of those things where, you know, I have, the bottom has a lot of space here. So if I go, look, let's cut that in half. You'll see where the episodes jump up a bit. So there's not as much space here. If I wanted everything kind of smushed a bit in the middle, I could do this. And I don't know about you, I don't think that looks very good. So I'll go back to 100. And then you have an achievement badge. So if I go here, I could say best podcast by Dave, preferably without a typo. And I could give it, here's my colors. I'll put that in gray, and let's put the background in the brown. And there's my achievement badge. So you can, again, everything is based on your color. So you can see how getting your colors kind of where you want them at first makes it really easy to add things to your website. So we're playing with the website. We've got our header section the way we want it. And now we're going to move on to episodes. And now let's look at playing with our episodes and how they look on the page. And so to do that, we're going to go to Home. We're going to edit the page. And you have an option here called Homepage Feed. And so what you can do here is, do you want the episodes on your front page? If I turn it off, they're gone. Some people use this for their business and they want their products and services on the front page. You could use something like this custom section and put a bunch of text there about your products and services. Again, it's really customizable, but I like my episodes. I'm going to say, look, let's put those back here. And then I can go here and say, hey, how many of these do I want? So I could say, look, let's show 8, just because I've got 4 here. And it gives us a little fuller view here. And now you can simply, again, play a little and say, well, what if I did this? And this is where having custom artwork stops your website from looking quite so boring, although these kind of are all very similar. But I could say this, I could have this look, I could have just the images, I could have this one where the images are a little bigger, a lot bigger actually. We could come here, just have the titles. It's really up to you. And so depending on here we have a big image with the text on the right. So whichever one you go, ooh, I like that, that's the one. This one kind of has a checkerboard effect. And so you can just play with these until you find the one you want. So here, I like this one, the titles above, because my titles usually make you want to click. So I like that. Maybe I go, you know what? Let's change this to 6. And I could, if I wanted to, here in the home feed section, there's an option here to show the categories above the list. Well, right now I don't have any, but I could show those there. And I could also highlight the most recent episodes. So if I do that, it makes this top one kind of stand out. Here, if I want a different background color, so we have the kind of gray, I can come in here and say, look, can we use the really light color that we're kind of using every place else? And actually, that's right here. I could just choose that. And now I've got that. Now, if I wanted to, I could make it even lighter. Depending on what you're doing and how you want it, I could say, look, let's drag this down here. So it's not so much gray, but that way it's light so people can read that text. And it's still kind of in the color family. I think that's okay for now. I might make it even a little lighter. Just a hint here. And this is where, again, you can just play. So we'll stick with that for the feed section. Everything else still has the gray. So there is that for your episodes. And once you get them the way you want on the front page, then it's a matter of, well, what is it going to look like when somebody clicks on it? I wanted to spend just a little more time customizing the home page. When we go to pages and we come down to home and we click on edit page, I want to talk about these custom sections. This will allow you to add anything to your front page. So if I click here and say, hey, I want to talk about my book, I could click here. I could upload a picture of my book. So here it is. I'll upload that. And now down here, I can put, want to make some money with your podcast. Check out my book on, I'll just say here. And then I'm going to, first of all, fix my typo. I'm going to bold this and say, hey, let's go ahead and put in my address. And that's here. So that's all set. And now if I go ahead and let's make sure before I leave, yep, that's turned on. And where is this going to be? So if I go, look, I really want that at the top, you'll see now, there it is. Now I could come in here, and if I wanted this, right, I could move this down the page maybe a little, just so it's kind of centered there with the book. There we go. And again, we're just playing. So now if I look at the website, there's my custom area. So you can make this whatever you want. Now, if I go back just to play and I edit the home page, and this is custom section 1, I can say, let's put the book on the other side. There we go. You'll see here, if you have multiple images here, you could do this. Or if you just want no image, but I want to add some custom content there, you could, again, if we go here, all of the tools are here. And so you can add this custom section to your home page. So to adjust the episode page, I'm going to go to Pages and Episodes. So this shows all of my episodes. And then here you'll see where there is an Episodes page, which this is how what does it look like when somebody clicks on episodes? So they're on the front page, they click on this, and so there is this page. And again, we've kind of just played with this. You've got the grid. How many columns do you want? You could completely make this different than what you have on the front page. So maybe you wanted something where they're just in a list, or maybe you want them this card view. It's really up to you. I'm going to stick, I think, again, with just the titles and the artwork. So that's kind of this one here. Yeah, there we go. And again, how many, if I say, look, I just want 2 columns, It's going to make everything a little bigger, maybe a little easier to read. And do I want to show media players on the episode list? So if I do this, it will basically add those here. Listen to the episode. And so I've got my layout. You can sort them differently if you wanted to. And if I wanted to change my header here where it says episodes, I might want to put click to listen to an episode. And again, if I wanted to add a banner here, I could, but that's enough for, so that's the episodes page. Now, what is it? And you can notice here, I always look at this at the S, episodes page. If I go here to episode singular, this is what it's going to look like when somebody clicks on the actual episode. So they're on the home page. They might have clicked on this to see the episodes, and now they're coming here. What do you want the episode page to look like? So here I could say, hey, I want to edit this page, and this is how it's going to look. And maybe I don't want this image because it's on the player. It's really up to you. And I could say, hey, you know what? I don't really want the image there, and it's gone. Or I could say, show the full thing. And depending on how you have it set up. So I'll do that. The media player, show both audio and video players if you're importing your video. And here, the player link. Again, do you want icons? We saw this on the, I can have medium badges here. So those are a little bigger depending on how many badges you have. You can adjust that here. And then do you want this all in one kind of big paragraph? Or you could say, no, break this up and have show notes, have chapters. If you have them, that will be, all in one item here. Expand all content sections on the episode page, or this option where you now have show notes on one tab and the other one. So I kind of like this one. I don't like them all in one because then you have to scroll forever. And then here you have the episode footer. And what's great about this is you can type anything in this box. So maybe you want people to sign up for some sort of crowdfunding. You could say, support the show. And I could make that, maybe a bigger text. Say, look, let's do a smaller header. If you like the show, please consider becoming a VIP. And of course, you would link that to whatever you're using. And so I'm going to pretend like I linked that to something. And I will just put this over to Podpage for now because I don't have anything set up. But this could be Patreon, whatever. So I'm just going to put this in as a dummy link just so we can see what that looks like. And now when I click on save, if we go and look at our episodes now, let's look at what we've done. So here I can go to the home page. We set that up. We've got our home page with our layout here on the home page. But if I say episodes, there's our second layout that we put. And I could say, and as I do this now, I'm like, I want that to be smaller. You have to scroll too much to see all the episodes. And so now I'm going to come in and click on a single episode. And there's what we picked, no image. And here's our show notes. If we had chapters and such, that would be here as well. And so those are the different ways you can set up your episodes. And so you look at your website, you're like, this is pretty cool, but what if I want to grow an email list? Well, number one, Podpage has already set up a newsletter short link for you. So here it is. Based on the colors that you picked, it's all set. Now, Podpage is not an email client. We can collect them for you until you get your own. But just so you know, anybody that signs up, you can't email them. So where could I put this? Well, maybe I want to add a sidebar. So what I'm going to do is go into Podpage. I'm going to come down to design, and you'll see there's an option for sidebar. And when I click on this, it's showing you this is what it would look like. Now, why? Under visibility, I can say, show it on the home page, or just show it on episodes, video, and post page. So if I do this, let's save that. We'll go to our website here. I'm on the home page. And when I click on an episode, lo and behold, there's our sidebar, and it's got a list of our recent episodes. So let's leave that here. And if I go back to design and sidebar, you can pick where do you want this to show up. And if you want it to show up everywhere, you would just click both of those. Under player links, here are those again. And you could say, look, can we have some small badges or medium badges? You know, it's really up to you. So I'll say, hey, small badges for this time. Categories, if you had any, you could have them shown on the sidebar. I don't have any right now. Social widgets, this is a tool where if I go over here, I can add my social accounts. And if they are set up, then in theory, they will be on the sidebar. And I say in theory because anything with social is based on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn not changing things and breaking it for everyone. So that is one of those you'll even see where I believe here it says this may not work because of Facebook. They like to change things a lot. But what if I want to add something to the sidebar that's not built into Podpage? I could come here and I can add images. I can add whatever I want, and I'm just going to type, this is my thing on the sidebar. And remember, we put the thing earlier in the episode footer, but if I click here and click save, and now let's go out to our website and refresh, you'll see this is my thing on the sidebar. There you go. And by the way, since I'm here in this episode, there is our episode footer. So you can add your, again, this is under design, and this was called the sidebar. And you can add here under custom content, whatever you want. I'll go ahead and take that off and click on save. And now you can, again, figure out what you want, but we've added a sidebar to our site. Now you might be thinking, hey, Dave, that newsletter thing was great. I do have my own newsletter. How do I use that? Well, if we go back to Podpage and go to connect, you'll see where it says building an email list. And so when I click on that, I have an option here under settings. If I had collected emails, they would be listed here. There'd be a little button right here to export them. But we're going to put in our own email list tool. So I go to settings and I have it set right now to collect using Podpage. And you can see if you don't have a system yet, I could come down, I could add some images, I could have, change the wording on it. And then down here, I could actually give them a PDF or just redirect them to another website. But in this case, I'm going to use Kit. Now, this is just an example. You can use whoever you want. But in my case, I'll use Kit. So I'm going to say I want to use my own custom form. So I click on that and I can say, hey, I'm going to go in here to Kit and I want to use my landing forms. And I'm just going to use this one that says podcast launch checklist. So I click on this and all you have to do is say, hey, I want to embed this. And I'm going to click on copy. And then back in Podpage, where I've said I want to use my own custom email form under settings, I can just right click and choose paste. And when I do that and click on save, and now if I open my website, you'll see we said we don't have a sidebar, but if I go into an episode, the sidebar will show up and there's my sign up form. So that's how you add your own email list. Now, if somebody signs up, I don't have to export their email. It goes right into whatever tool you are using. And again, that was under Connect, Build an Email List, and under Settings. When you're happy with your website, you can come in and add your own domain. So you can see this one is webtoolsradio.com. That's much easier than saying go to podpage.com/web-tools-whatever. So let me show you. I'm going to switch to a different show here. And so I'm going to click on this and I'm going to come down. I believe this one is the one I want, because if I go to settings right here on the left and add your own domain, you can say here, hey, so I'm going to type in fixmypodcast.com, which is a domain I own. And when I click on save, Podpage is going to go out and check and see if that domain is pointing at Podpage, which is why it's taking it a second. And so when it realizes that it's not set up right, it's going to go out behind the scenes and get some directions for you. So it says, hey, this is currently under Namecheap, and it tells me exactly what to do. And so you can basically do this step by step. It's showing you here, hey, you need to remove this record and add these two. And if you're like, hey, this is way over my head, you can even come down here, just highlight this, right click and choose copy, and then go to this company. So in this case, this is Namecheap, and email their tech support and give them this message, and they can do this for you. If you don't want to do that, you can always email support and go here under help and say, I would like to set up a live support call. And you could register it there, and we'll get online and do that. But when it is set up correctly, here's what it looks like. We just saw what it looks like when it's like, hey, that's not set up. You've got to make some settings. If I go back to the website we were working on and go to settings and add your own domain, you'll see that once it is set up, it will go out and check and say, hey, everything is good. And that's why when I go to open website, it goes to my domain. Now, you can do this particular step whenever you want. You don't have to wait till you're happy with your website. If you're just like, I want to get this over with, you can always go to settings, use my own domain, and set it up whenever you are comfortable. So now maybe we want to spruce up our About page by adding host profiles. So when I go to pages, here's my About page, and we're going to come back and tweak this a little bit. But I want to add host profiles, and I don't see them here. Well, you can come down to more pages, and rather than having a giant list of pages to pick from, we let you choose which ones you add to your navigation. So when I go to more pages and say, hey, where's the one about host profiles? And I can click here and say, I would like to add a new person. And that new person is me. So I will type in my name. I'm not going to make you watch me fill this out. Okay, so I've filled in a lot of these. There's a lot of social sites. You don't have to fill it out. It's up to you. And all I have to do is click on save. All right, so there is that. Now, let's go back to pages and about. And when I go here, it starts off with whatever was in your media host that went to Apple and such. So here I can say, edit the page, and I can add more stuff here. So we would love to hear your ideas and your favorite tools. Go to the website here. So Web Tools Radio, the one that we're working on here, would help if I spell it right, /voicemail. And while I'm here, I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to turn this into, so I'll just say, leave us a voicemail. We'll get rid of the typo. And just for fun, do I want that in a new window? Normally I say yes to a new window, but I'm going to leave that in the current window because it's the same website. Your URL entered has an egg. Do you want to add? Yes, I do. Okay. So when I click on save now, I've updated my section there. And again, a lot of times whatever you had in Apple was fine. But here under hosts, I could say, do you want to show the host section or not? It's really up to you. So usually the first paragraph is about the show, and then you have your link. So I'll go ahead and click save on that just so we can see what it looks like. Let's open up the website. I go to my About page, and I always want to make sure this works. There it is. There's our voicemail. And when I click on About, I'm back here, and there is this. And you can see where I've got all my links here, including, I didn't know you could do this, a link to Amazon, where all your stuff that you sell on Amazon is. So that's kind of handy. And that is our About page. So we got our episodes going, and people are starting to ask, how can I be a guest on the show? So what we're going to do is come down to Pages, Guest Intake Form, and it's already set up with our colors, right? So we have our gray background, and I can come over here and say, all right, register as a guest. I can change that to something else if I want. Here I can say, please use a square image when uploading your headshot, and use the scheduling button that appears after you submit your information. So I'm just letting them know what's going on. If I want to add custom questions, what's your favorite color, whatever it is, we could do that here. The guest release is just saying, yes, show that. And so that's perfect. If you want to upload your own, you could do that. Here, confirmation message, I could say, here again, thanks so much. After a user successfully, I could say, thanks so much. Please schedule the interview using the link below. And now it's like, okay, we're not a scheduling tool. We're Podpage. We make pretty websites for people that don't want to learn how to code. And it mentions here Calendly. I use TidyCal. It's one price. It's not a monthly price. And I've got one in here, an interview with Dave Jackson. So I will copy that link, and I'm going to put that back in Podpage. And then down here, if you have an additional questionnaire, maybe the custom questions here weren't enough, you could link to that as well. And then I might put that here under the confirmation message. Please click the link for more additional questions. But for now, I'll just click on Save. And since that is done now, if I go back to our good friend, the navigation bar, I can say, hey, navigation links, and I could say, register as a guest, if that's what you want. Now realize, I'm going to move that up here just by dragging and dropping, that if you do that, everybody and their brother is going to ask to be on your show. And maybe that's what you want. But a lot of times I will reserve that, because if we go here to Pages, Guest Intake Form, I can say, hey, here is the link right here. And I could copy that link and send an email to somebody, go here, register to be a guest here. But for now, let's open up the page just to show you what it is. So I'll say, hey, this is Dave Jackson. Here's my bio. And then we go through all the fun here. I'll upload my headshot yet again. And so here's the form. I've gone in and filled this out, the magic of editing here. You can fill in as much or as little as you want. And here, when they read by clicking register, they are saying, hey, I agree to this guest release, which is here. And so when I click on register, it will take us to that second page. Thanks so much. Please schedule the interview using the link below. That's that confirmation. And so when I click on this, it takes them, if I get my mouse to work, there's the scheduling link from, in my case, TidyCal. Again, you can use whoever you want. Book Like a Boss, Calendly, there are a ton of those. Acuity scheduling. And then if I had that one about more questions, that button would be here. But I'll say, hey, I'm good. Web Tools Radio uses Podpage for the podcast website. That's a little booking for us. And when I click on back to the home page, it takes you back to the home page. Now, where is that guest? When I come into Podpage and come down to guests, there is a guest list. And so here, if I need them to ask, hey, you forgot to fill out the thing, I could do this. I could attach this to a past episode, and I can also attach it to a future episode. So if I click on this, and this was a guest that's going to be on episode 28, all I have to do is type in 28 and click on save, and it will automatically attach him or her to that list. Or I could come in here and say, oh, this guest was on, let's say, let's go to the episode list. They were on this episode, and I could click here and down here, say here that we are, and you can see I've only got the one guest, but I do that, and they're now attached to this episode. And so here's the episode, and at the bottom, it's kind of confusing because it's me, but this is the guest. So let me show you what this looks like on another page. You can actually, first of all, whatever your website is, you have a guest page automatically. So you can see I've had these 4 people on my show, and we make a page for each person. So this is great for saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Guest, you should come on my show. Look at all the cool people who've already been on it. And then we make a page for every single guest. So this is the founder of Podpage, and you can see here's all of his social links. And here is the link to the episode he was on. So here it is. And at the bottom of the episode, he's right here. And again, all of his social links, and I can click here and go to that page that we made for them. So that's, if you want to have interviews on your show, we make it super easy. It saves time. It's awesome. Now, one of the things we saw on the home page is that you can add categories to your front page and in your menus. So if I go here to pages, come down to episodes, and you'll see there's an option here for categories. And so you can make as many categories as you want. If we have some here automatically, and I'm just going to go ahead and delete these. All right, so here we go. I'm going to make my own categories here, and I'm going to make the first one be video. And here you might want to add a description. Video tools for entrepreneurs and content creators. And so once you're happy with that, I'll just click on save. I'm going to add one more and say page builder. And again, normally I would type in a description, but for the video, I'll skip that. I'll come back and add it later. So I've got my 2 options here. And you can see when you type a description, it shows here. But just to show you how to use these, I can go up to my episode list and say, oh, here's one that's video. And I can say that's video. And I can say this one was video. And this one is a page builder. And so now I've assigned some categories to episodes. And so what we can do is we're now going to go up to the home page. We were here earlier and say, hey, on the home page feed, that's where those episodes are here. I can say, hey, can we show the categories above the list? So when I turn that on, I can also have those. If I go to, I'll go ahead and click save while I'm here. Under the design tab, under the navigation bar, under navigation links, you can see where show the categories in an episode drop down from the Navigator. So when I click on episodes up here, it will actually show those categories. And so now here on our website, when I click on episodes, there are the categories I have. Down here above the episodes, I've got the categories here on the home page. So that's where categories come into play and can make it easy for your audience to find exactly what they're looking for. And now we're going to put videos on our website. So here again, I'm going to go over to pages. I don't have anything for videos. So if I go to more pages, you'll see there's an option here for video pages. So when I click on that and then come over to settings, it's going to ask us, put a link to a channel or a playlist. So if you don't want every video from your channel to be on your website, then make a specific playlist. A lot of people just call it Podpage. But in our case, we're going to take our full channel. So here, this is the Podpage channel. It's at youtube.com/@PodpageHQ. I'm just going to copy that URL, come back to Podpage and paste it. And when I click on save, it will make a separate video. You'll see here, videos will be imported shortly. So here you can see we've got some videos coming in. If I go back to design, navigation bar, under the navigation links, I can now add videos, and I can rearrange just by dragging and drop these. So if I have episodes and then videos, that's there. And likewise, while we're here, if we go over, let's go ahead and click on save. And now if we go to pages and home and edit that page, I can say, hey, on the home page feed, I want videos. And so as it starts to import those will show up on the front page. And while we're here, now that we have multiple types of content, I can come here under change section order, and I can pick how I want this to appear. So if I wanted right here, I've got the videos first. Well, maybe I want the audio first, and then maybe I want recent blog posts, etc., etc. So you can change how these appear. So I'll go ahead and click on save. And let's go take a look at our website. Again, you'll always see this here in the upper right-hand corner where you can click on Open Website. And so I'll click on Open Website. Now, we just pushed a bunch of videos. So now the front page, the most recent content, are our videos. Now, if I say, you'll see we have View All Videos. So it does make a /videos page. So here are links to all of our videos. If we go back to the main page, you have View All Episodes. And so there are the audio episodes there. So you have the options. We put this up on the navigation. There's episodes and there are videos. And as they come in, you will see audio and video mixed on the front page. All right, the next thing we're going to add is a blog post. And here under pages, we have videos now that we've added a video, but there is nothing for a blog. But if I go to more pages, there's an option here for blog posts. So when I click on that, takes me to this page, and we have categories. In the same way that we had categories for episodes, you can add categories for blogs. So if I click here and I say, hey, I want to add a new category, we will call this best practices. And again, I would really want to type a description, but for the sake of the video here, I'm going to skip that rather than make you watch that. And so now I want to add, if I go over to blog posts, we don't have any. So I'll say I want to add a new one. And maybe I'm writing one about getting feedback. And I could say there. And now here again, you have your typical post. So here, bold, italics, all these options that we've had in our show notes. Same thing. You could upload an image here in the same way that your episodes have artwork. You can have artwork for a blog. And then your author is your host. So here I'm going to add me. And then here's my category that I just made. I can see that's here. And this will not show up on your website until you give it a publish date. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this. We'll say it came out yesterday. And so if I click out of there, I can add SEO information here. And then if this is about an episode, so this was about, what did I say, feedback, and I could say, oh, let's put this about roadmaps. That's kind of feedback. And I'll say, go ahead and publish this now. Now, if I just click save, it will, because we have a publish date up here. So in this case, I'll go ahead and say, just publish this now, which will probably put today's date. There we go. So that's here now. Let's open up the website, because you will see where we now have a blog option. Now, if you decide, hey, I don't really want that at the top, maybe I want it down here in the footer, what we could do is go to design, go to my navigation bar, and say, hey, I like my blog, but I don't want it in the top navigation. And I could come over here and click on save, then go back to the footer, and you'll see it works very similar to the navigation bar at the top, and you can see blog is already turned on. So if I click on save and I go up, I haven't refreshed my screen. Let me do that. There we go. Now blog is at the bottom. And again, there are no right or wrong answers here. And there's my one post. Of course, I didn't really make one. And when I click on that, there's my show notes. But notice that this is, again, there's our episode footer coming back to put that at the bottom of every piece of content. So that's how you add a blog to your website. So there you go. Again, get you up and going. Let me remind you, when you're in Podpage, you can come down to the help menu and we've got a help desk here. So let's say I wanted to know how to add Google Analytics. Well, I could just type in Google and there it is right there, setting up Google Analytics. We also have a Facebook community. So if you haven't joined that, you can join our Facebook community. Also under the help menu, we have webinars. So you can see here, you can sign up for our webinars here. If you need a live support call, we will do that. We don't want you stuck. You can click here and schedule that here. If you're on our elite program, you can schedule podcast coaching. It's all there. And don't forget, if you go to our YouTube channel, we are Podpage HQ on YouTube. And you can see there's a great playlist here called Learn Podpage, where I mention all the short videos that we have. So if you need just a pieces, parts, because we didn't even get into monetization. There are a lot of things we didn't talk about. I just want to get you up and going. So as always, you can go to podpage.com, click on the support button if you have any questions. And the last thing I want to show you before we leave is if I go here and just type in the word quick. This is under our help desk, and you can see a Podpage quick reference guide, and you can download that here. So again, our goal is to keep you podcasting. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks for watching.